Albert Whitlock's matte department created approximately 70 special visual effects shots for the 1975 disaster thriller The Hindenburg, starring George C. Scott and directed by Robert Weiss.
And the other major challenge was simply, can we reincarnate her? Can we resurrect? Can we bring back the Hindenburg in all of her glory, in color? Can we have her on the ground at Frankfurt? Can we put her in the air? Can we sail her across the ocean? Can we bring her by New York? Can we bring her into Lake Coast and eventually blow her up? And of course, this was going to call, I recognized early on, for all the techniques that we know in film, of miniature work and miniature and math and paintings and tricks of all kinds. So before I accepted the assignment, I went down to see Al Whitlock, who's a master in special visual effects at the studio. I said, Al, can we do this? Can we realistically and believably and honestly reincarnate the Hindenburg and do what we need? We talked at some length, and he said, I think we can if we apply all our techniques and maybe some new ones, and if we plan and prepare and really work together, Leonard, I think you can do it.
For their work, Whitlock's department was recognized by the Academy with a Special Achievement Award for visual effects.
Yes, indeed. That blend of reality and creativity has earned a special award for visual effects from the Academy Board of Governors. To Albert Whitlock. Ladies and gentlemen.
We would like to thank Robert Wise, a great pleasure to work with, as some of you know, and all at Universal, especially Bill Taylor, Dennis Glauner, Mike Morimarco, Millie Weinbrenner, Larry Schuler, and Sid Dutton. And our thanks to the Academy for this, to us, a very special award.
Ladies and gentlemen.
We've set to cover all of the map department's work and the film in a short series of videos. Former map department talents Bill Taylor and Sid Dutton provide some select commentary to accompany material from their collections. Additionally, the family of Whitlock's longtime grip, Larry Schuler, graciously donated his film elements and other production materials that we will be including. We begin with 3 nighttime scenes and 2 unused shots. In these gently corrected views from a faded print that probably was printed too low, we can see the with and without in front of Hangar 28 at the Marine Corps Air Station in Santa Ana. This would have been the first nighttime view of the Hindenburg as called for in an early draft of the script and the accompanying storyboard as Colonel Franz Kessler and Eleonora depart the nearby airfield pub, the Hayden Keller. There are no additional film elements that may help us explore these shots more. However, the day view at bottom right runs for several hundred feet. Besides capturing some production activity in the hangar, the first vehicle that passes by may have been employed for an early rotoscope test in a manner similar to the shot we see early on in the film. Bill Taylor will explain in an upcoming video how this shot was accomplished. This wedge shot is the earliest possible view of this Whitlock painting in progress, being filmed against some test footage as Whitlock works out basic shapes and blocks in a basic blend between the live action and the painting at its earliest stage. Although this reference image is black and white, we can appreciate an early detail that Albert would discard, such as would appear to be airflow stains along the observation deck's edge. A detail perhaps seen in reference photos or some direction he received from the art department. Likely working on multiple paintings at the same time for this film, Albert provides here a refined version of the painting several days later for the very first test shot. This is for a searchlight element that will appear to move along the side of the dirigible. Bill Taylor will describe that in a minute. In the meantime, we can appreciate additional details like a refined matte line and shape of the ship and background structures and lights. This is the final version of the painting that was used on screen, with Whitlock adding some additional details to the skin of the airship and slightly extending its bottom when compared to his painted lights along the horizon.
This next one is a nice shot. Just this little bit of set here. There's this gondola here, and then this is another brilliant Al idea. This searchlight is made up of two pieces. The circle is a hole cut in a piece of cardboard. And Larry made two pieces of wood that had routed into them a curved track that roughly matched the curve of the skin of the airship. So he frames this up so we can slide the piece of cardboard in this curved track. And this curve, of course, because it corresponds to the curve of the airship, roughly, the round hole, moves in perspective as we slide this piece of cardboard along. All this stuff is tested, so we come back and mark little fiduciary marks. There's no cranking in this case. We just physically took this piece of cardboard and slid it in the track, mark for mark. And I had the stop motion button sticking in my belt, so I would slide it and click, and so that gave us the bright moving circle. Now we get a long strip of cardboard cut at a slight angle like that, and this long strip of cardboard, we just stuck that in the hole. So now we go through the hole again, following the same mark, but this time it's front lit. The sheet of the cardboard with the hole in it is black, and this piece of cardboard is white. That's the light beam. I don't know for what reason, maybe the diffusion filter. The light beam doesn't exactly match the size of the hole. It tells the story, and nobody even questions it. That's Al. I'm sure he figured it out. Al was mechanically very sophisticated, and he could tell Larry, "I want something like this," and Larry would just run with it.
Prepare to weigh off.
Very, very classic matte shot. It just had the non-moving truck over the foreground. This is a shot that's composed as it would be if you had it for real. You wouldn't. This is the honor point. You wouldn't be down here with people going over.
Shown below is an ultimately unused night shot. At top are some elements used to create it. In this instance, the real hangar and replica Hindenburg control car that can be seen suspended by the crane were filmed in daylight. This was done so that a single developed frame could be projected in register later at the matte department onto a primed glass that would eventually become the nighttime matte painting. Albert or an assistant then roughly traced the outline of the projected live-action hangar, the nearby structures, and took note of the distance between the hangar and the replica control car. Tracing the distance between the two was essential to creating an accurately scaled painted nighttime view. And positioning the truck in daylight assisted in establishing a portion of the matte line. Here we have an additional film element of nearly the same view, but Albert has moved the morning mast closer to where it appears in the final shot, farther away from the hangar. The secondary crowd that was painted in middle ground is absent now, and searchlights surround the ship. We are assuming that the airship moved from left to right in this shot as it does in the final view in the film and as directed in the storyboard. When the shots are together, it appears that a picture car with a different number plate was used and the foreground live-action crowd was filmed with more precise sliding, probably on the back lot at night or inside a stage at Universal. The movement of the mooring mast between the two unused night views might suggest that it was mobile, as seen here in footage from Germany at that time. We can discount that for now, as it does not appear to be mobile in any shots used in the film, and the adjustment and distance between the mast and the hangar in the unused frames was strictly compositional.
Excuse me? We've got 4,100 miles to go.
Right. Holland. 9 minutes late. Or do you make it 10, Mr. Douglas?
Al needed what the English used to call a general factotum. I wasn't supposed to paint or anything. I was just supposed to go for things. But he needed to get some brushes from the art department supply. You'd go down and that type of thing. My father was English, and I knew how to make a great cup of tea. That was important for Al, being British. And I just tried to make myself invaluable. So during the course of that film, which the post-production lasted about a year, I was given more painting responsibilities. And then I think the thing that cinched me getting a job as an assistant was that there was supposed to be a view out a window that was shot in camera. And Al had it worked out that I was going to paint the city on a huge sheet of cell material. And we're talking maybe 6 by 10, 15 feet. And so that a POV of people looking through the window seeing what was supposed to be Germany going by, a city in Germany, Munich or something. I started painting dots on this piece of cell material, and I thought, this is going to take me forever. So I went to a supermarket and I bought candy decoration, these little round balls, bought several bottles, and I threw them on top of the black velvet and then took a ruler and started making a city grid out of the little balls. Then I painted a foreground on a piece of glass that had the edge of a frame on what was supposed to be the Hindenburg observation window. And Al saw it and he didn't yell at me, which meant that he liked it. And I think at that point he thought I had something I could contribute in terms of imagination.
That's all for now. If you like what we're doing, hit the like button, share with mates at the pub or over a good cup of tea, and don't forget to subscribe. It don't cost you nothing. I'm Bob Bosebell, and it's been a pleasure.